Kaz, I'm hearing rumblings. I don't think they're true. I hope they're not, but like Garrett could be asking for a trade after the season. I would not, and this is my hot take, I would never trade Garrett Wilson. I would extend him this offseason. That guy is an incredible character, it seems like, and a good like person you'd want in your locker room. And not to mention, he just is so freaking good on the field. The fact that he's been able to put together back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons with absolutely hard quarterback play speaks to the volume of the type of player he is and why you don't trade away players like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade him. I mean, look, is he going to ask for a trade? I don't know. I mean, I talked to Garrett the day before Thanksgiving. I grabbed him by my side, and like Garrett said to me, he wants to be here. He thinks that they can win. He doesn't think it's impossible here. He's frustrated. Obviously, it's been a lot of losing, and it's getting to him. Like he wears his emotions on his sleeve, particularly after games. And he was frustrated. If you saw the play before the field goal, the second down when Rodgers got sacked, I mean, Garrett was wide open, and he was jumping all over the place after that play. So it's been a tough 3 years for him here. And, this season hasn't gone the way they wanted to. In terms of, like, the trade, like, if he asked for a trade, I don't think Garrett will be, like, super public about that. I don't think he'll go all Jamal Adams on that aspect of it. But it's become part of the process. So I think fans have to recognize that too, is like, name all the receivers who've looked for extensions, right? Debo was going to get traded, right? Brandon Ayuk was going to get traded. Justin Jefferson was going to get traded. Like, it's part of the dance now. It's like, hey, pay me. Well, we don't know how much we're going to pay. Okay, trade me, right? And then we're not going to trade you. And then 3 months later, they come to a contract deal. So don't panic is my point. If there's a trade demand or whatever, like, I feel like this has now become the agent's playbook, step number 2 to get a contract. But I would pay him. If you talk about all the guys, Garrett's the one I would pay right now. I'd push Sauce off for a year. And Breece is a different decision as a running back. I think you got to make that decision of how much you value the position, all that. But I would pay Garrett, because the price of receivers is only going up too. So it's not like, delaying it a year will help. I'd pay him. I think, like you said, he's a great locker room guy. He's obviously a very, very, very good player. Like, he showed that against Sunday against Jalen Ramsey. He really ate him up. I understand the fans' fear, but I do think I also think, knowing Woody Johnson a little bit, he loves wide receivers. So I could see him being, if he's going to pay one of them, I think Garrett's the guy he's going to pay.
Do you think that Sauce or some other player on defense with some standing or name, even Quinnen, do you think any of these guys could potentially be put on the block after the season if they're looking to?
Maybe if someone comes in and says, we really need to get draft picks, but I just don't feel like that the roster's in that state, to be honest with you. Like, when Douglas got here, absolutely. Like, I understood he was going to trade Leonard. I didn't anticipate trading Jamal, but when he did it and got 2 first-round picks, like, all right, that makes sense. Like, you're trying to rebuild the roster, but this roster does not feel like that. It doesn't feel like it needs, they need 7 new starters or something like that. So I wouldn't rule anything out, but I don't anticipate that happening this offseason of players of that magnitude.
Yeah, it's just a matter of if the new GM wants to either tear this thing down and really rebuild it again, or try and reload, and find that solution, right?
Yeah, I think there's a middle ground of, like, just building. We always like rebuilding. Like, I think there needs to be some building done on this roster for sure. Like, I don't know if they're going to win next year, but I don't think it's a complete rebuild. Like, it's not even close to, like, what Douglas took on, or, even back Idzik time. Like, it's not close to that, in my opinion.
You think they might just end up retooling, as they say, and try to make, let's say, the playoffs next year or in 2 years? I mean, they're going to sell us that for sure.
I mean,
they're going to tell us that we're going to make the playoffs next year.
I wouldn't do like the 2015 model. Is that what you're talking about? Like,
literally
Revis,
that.
Marty.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do that. Like, I just think that's a quick fix type of thing. And 2015 it didn't even work in terms of getting to the playoffs. So that and then I felt like that set them back 2 years after, like, because they did that. So I think right now you have enough here that like they could go on a surprise run next year if things fell the right way, if the schedule helps them, if they stay healthy. Like I wouldn't be shocked if they went on a little run next year. And I think an unexpected season, like not like this year with all the expectations. I think I could see that happening next year where there's enough pieces here. They've got pieces. I think the offensive line is in a lot better shape than it's been if they stick with this group. With a new right tackle possibly. I'm not sure if Morgan will be back, but they stick with this group. They've got good running backs. They've got Garrett to build around. They gotta do some work at tight end. And obviously, quarterback's a huge question. But I think, and then defensively, they need to add something on the line, get Jermaine back as the edge rusher, and I think you're in pretty good shape. In terms of being a playoff contender.